Now to Cape Town, Johan van Loggerenberg continues his testimony at Mkhwebane's impeachment inquiry today. The former SARS executive is testifying in relation to the so-called SARS rogue unit. Yesterday, van Loggerenberg was questioned whether or not the public protector was dishonest about the intelligence evidence when she compiled her SARS rogue unit report. Let's go to our reporter Lindsay Dtelinger, who is following day 4 of the impeachment inquiry today, and she joins us now for an update. So, Lindsay, the president did say that him being called to testify at the Section 194 inquiry is misdirected, but Mkhwebane is saying actually he should be called. Tell us more about that.
Well, that request, or at least informing the committee of that intention, was Dali Mpofu just before he started cross-examination of Johan van Loggerenberg this morning, saying to the committee that he'd already informed the evidence leader and that a letter would be arriving at the president's door within the next day or so, calling for him to testify before this committee. Mr. Mpofu said that he is of the view, given the statements the president has made about the public protector, including that she has perjured herself, which is a criminal offence, he has to come and testify before this committee. We know that the CR17 report, which the public protector compiled, will be one of those that this committee will eventually deal with once it moves beyond the current report that it is going through. And Mr. Mpofu saying that he will even go as far as to call former presidents whom he did not name, but the inference can be drawn that he is talking about former President Jacob Zuma, because he told the committee that we would have to, if this was going to be a fair process, hear from those that the public protector was alleged to have secret meetings with. And we know with regard to the SA Reserve Bank report, it is alleged that the public protector held secret meetings with former President Jacob Zuma. But this is what he told the committee in support of why he thinks President Cyril Ramaphosa needs to be summoned to appear before this inquiry.
We are going to call the president. We are going to write him a letter today or tomorrow to ask him, in line with the directives, if he's willing to come voluntarily. If not, then we will initiate a process for him to be summoned. And it is not for the reasons of dealing with the issue of suspension and all that per se, but just on the merits, on the fact that he has made certain accusations against the public protector, saying she's guilty of perjury and all sorts of things, which would be impeachable if they are true. But you'll see that when we do when we send the letter. But the point is that actually, I had then thought that would probably be as far as we go. But from some of the evidence now, and I suspect that will come from the cross-examination, it looks like we might even have to call other former presidents. I don't want to put their names at this stage, but you'll remember one of the charges has to do with a meeting with a president. Again, and that might not be necessary. For example, we could go to that person and say, did you meet with the public protector? The person might say yes or no. We go to the evidence leaders. They say, okay, we accept it at face value. Then obviously we can't call someone here for something that would have been agreed. We'll simply register to the committee that this has been agreed. But I suspect that with some of these people, it's going to be not that simple. With some of them, it might be that simple.
All right, Lindsay, so today being day 2 of Johan van Loggerenberg's testimony, he is being cross-examined by Dali Mpofu today. Exactly what have we heard from him so far?
Well, Dali Mpofu also telling this committee before we get to that cross-examination that if they want this to be a fair process, that it is highly likely that this inquiry will not be able to wrap up by the end of September, which is the time frame they've given themselves, and some opposition MPs taking exception to this, asking whether Dali Mpofu has the intention to deliberately draw out these proceedings until the end of the term of office of the public protector. He has been questioning Johan Johan van Loggerenberg, as you point out just before the lunch break, really taking him back to other reports which related to the so-called rogue unit. Darlene Mpofu questioning him about the contents of these reports. We know several of them have since been discredited, yet he is being questioned about these reports, and also questioned as to whether he felt that his complaint that he had not been heard when the Public Protector compiled her report on the so-called rogue unit, whether that was sufficient enough to call for the removal of the Public Protector. And so we have not yet heard an explanation from the Public Protector's team as to why Mr. van Loggerenberg was not asked to provide his side of the story or to respond to the claims against him in this report. As I say, we are still going through these other reports, for example, the KPMG report, the report that's come to be known as the Sikhakhane report, both of which have been since debunked and discredited. But still, Darlene Mpofu is persisting with asking Johan van Loggerenberg questions related to these reports and about his suspension from the Revenue Service when he was still employed there, and such related issues regarding surveillance, etc., that was being done by this investigative unit of the Revenue Service. But here is Johan van Loggerenberg again explaining to the committee why he feels so aggrieved by his treatment allegedly by the Public Protector.
I don't believe she conducted a proper investigation and that she was biased. I think she had already made up her mind that the unit was rogue because she referred to the unit like that. She openly stated that the persons associated with that unit that she was still in the process of investigating had been involved in the deaths of people, and she predicted further deaths and threats of people since her investigation had started. And the fact that she failed to come to the one person who I believe was most capable of providing her with the facts is an indictment on the quality of the investigation. I can only conclude it was either incompetence or lack of effort to even do elementary aspects of the investigation. Alternatively, something worse, and may well have acted fraudulently by omission. One example of several that has been traversed during my testimony yesterday was the withholding of the fact that Ms. Mkhwebane was in fact in possession of the 2014 Inspector General of Intelligence report, and she did not provide that to those people that were implicated in the investigation to respond to.